That's good. That's a good sign. And I'll take off my glasses because I'm mostly okay without them. It's funny as I'm getting older, it's dramatic, as I'm getting older and needing glasses more and more, and I've kind of been fighting it. And anyway, it's not going well. So the other morning I got up and I was doing a little bit of a practice and I thought, why, why do I have no balance? And then I realized I couldn't see anything. So I put on glasses, then it helped, but I want them off for now. So let's actually start in a seated position this morning. I'm going to sit up on my block because that makes it way more comfortable for me. Got Jeff joining me today. I had a question after last week's class about I used to have a little sofa here behind me and Laura wanted to know where it went because usually it's where the dogs spent all their time. But a girlfriend of mine, her daughter was moving into her very first apartment in Halifax. So you know, my dogs didn't really need a sofa. Although don't ask them if they needed it or not. Anyway, I gave it to this young gal starting out so she would have a little bit of furniture and paying it forward because I remember people did that for me. And so now I have a chair that I pull in and out and can confirm the dogs are not impressed. Anyway, I pulled a little donut here so Jeff can sulk for you all. Anyway, today we are going to work on the triangle, which is not everybody's favorite pose. I used to really dislike it, and I'm trying to convince myself that it's pretty fabulous. So we'll break that down later in the practice. But now I want you to kind of just ground into it after I've yacked at y'all and everybody's logged in. So just kind of take a moment and lift your shoulders up, back, and then let the shoulder blades kind of slide down the back body. You can rest your arms. And if this position isn't comfortable, sit on a chair or a sofa or lie on the floor, whatever, it's all good. So kind of notice how you're seated or how you are in your space. And just start to breathe a little bit more deeply. Morning, Dano. You can close your eyes if that seems like a nice idea. And kind of take some time to go within yourself. And we're going to start with a little bit of a reflection. So as you're breathing and settling into your practice this morning, I want you to think back to this past week and start by thinking about something that went really well, something that was really good that happened in your life. And try and think about it in terms of something good that happened to you. So as you kind of play this through in your mind, think about perhaps the feelings associated with this thing that happened or this thing that went well. Think about the feelings. Think about maybe you played a part in this, maybe it was a surprise, maybe it was nothing to do with you, but just think about all of those little intricate bits and pieces. Good. And think about how you kind of, when you reflect on these things, how you think about it. So are you thinking about like, hey, good job, me? Or are you thinking about, I'm so lucky? Whatever the feeling is, just transition that into gratitude, just that overwhelming sense of gratitude. And just sit with that for a moment, breathing deeply. So now I want you to think about something that maybe didn't go well this week. I have a bucket to choose from, so I'm very lucky. But think about something that maybe wasn't great and reflect on that for a moment. And it's okay because that's going to come with some different feelings. But whereas last time we turned it into gratitude, this time I want you to focus on the wisdom that that leaves you with, which is a gift. And the reality is, with the yin and yang of life, we're going to have these wonderful moments, and we're going to have the moments that are less than wonderful. And it's the back and forth, and it's, the negative and the positive that helps us actually find balance. So just for a few more moments, think about that thing. Just choose one. Don't open the gates all the way. So just think about the one thing that maybe wasn't phenomenal. And again, appreciate the wisdom. And feel gratitude for the wisdom that you now hold and for the fact that that passed and we've moved through it. Good. Let's open the eyes and let's take a deep breath in, sweeping the arms up, really reach up into the air and maybe stretching up one arm further than the other. And just kind of move back and forth. I tell you what, I wake up in the mornings now and I feel like I've got a lot of wisdom with all the creaks and the cracks. And just bring your arms back down. If it's comfortable, fingertips to one side, just kind of touching the floor, and the other arm's going to come up. We extend up and then start to pull over. Don't shrink in on yourself. Just kind of really open up here and maybe just twisting back a little bit. Once you feel that everything's pulling through side body, hold and breathe for about 3 breaths in and out. And then sweeping all the way back up, touching the fingers on the other side, and then we go again. So reaching up, 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 and then crossing that midline, maybe twisting open a little bit here, and just go until you feel that real activation. So as you're holding and breathing here, I encourage you, if you are still, because some of us are those people, if you are still thinking about the thing from last week that did not go well, practice letting it go. Just get rid of it. Sometimes it's great to pull those things in and then they latch on. So don't let it latch. All right, up and over. Good. Let's just do a quick eagle arm exercise while we remain seated. So bring an arm forward, bend at the elbow, move to center. You're going to take your other arm under, up, and around. Maybe your hands connect, maybe they don't. Oh, Teddy. But from here, I want you to just tuck the head a little bit, arch your back, and just move around a little bit. Just get some stretch through the top of the back. Hello. Oh, what a cutie. And if you have an adorable dog that needs some attention, you can release your arms. All right, big, beautiful release here. Let's do the other side. So extend, bend at the elbow when you're coming to center. So, and then under, up, and around. Same deal, kind of tuck forward, just get a little bit of a good stretch here. And then a big release. Beautiful. I didn't know if Teddy was going to climb in there with Jeff. They're now starting to sometimes share a donut, although to be fair, we have donuts all over the house. They don't have to share, which is funny because it's not a big house. Lots of donuts, not much house. Anyway, I distract myself. Let's come on up to a standing posture. The other benefit of moving that sofa, as some of you might recall, the dogs used to lean over and drink my tea. So now, now my tea does not taste like sometimes what it would taste like after that would happen. Okay, so let's find our feet underneath our hips, please, and thank you. Keep that nice deep breath going, and just maybe a little bounce on the heels to begin. And as you're doing this little bounce, let the arms kind of, I'm exaggerating the arms a little bit, but let the arms just kind of feel free. And notice if you can go a little bit higher. So I'm just lifting up and down through the toe base. Good. Take a moment, just tack a foot behind, a little press on the top of the foot. As we sink down, hold for maybe about 3 breaths. And releasing, and then moving to the other side. Very good. And releasing here, good. And just roll the shoulders. Last week we were going through a whole bunch of things for lymphatic drainage, which I really, really like. We won't go through it today, but expect it to come back in the weeks ahead. But this just is such a nice thing to start with. And then reverse, moving forward. All right. So last week we worked on Warrior One, Humble Warrior, and then we were doing a little bit of a leg lift. This week I want to kind of break down kind of the first chunk of a sun salutation. We're going to get as far as kind of moving into downward facing dog, and then we're going to walk our way back out of that. And this is really just to get the body warmed up. I'm mindful of the fact that I had a big 1-hour hike this morning, but maybe not everybody did. So to start, and I think I will start facing forward and then we'll kind of move around as needed. I think I have enough space here. So let's start by, I guess I should move my feet underneath my my hips. We're going to sweep up, take a big breath in, connect the hands, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And then just exhale, pushing the hands down and then up to the heart. We'll do this a few more times. Inhale up. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Next part, we're going to inhale up. As you exhale, slowly swan dive. So we're pushing the chest forward, arms come back. I'm hinging forward. And you want to bring your fingertips down to the floor. So if this means the knees bend, that's cool. Drop your head. Let's hold here for a moment. Lots of big breath while the hamstrings open up. And then from here, we float up to, you can have kind of your hands on top of the knees if your elbows are bent, or maybe on the knees or right beneath. And shoulders are back. I'll show you this from the side, but we want this really nice flat back. So if you're doing this, tighten up through the core. And when you come into a flat back, your legs are straight. So we're really stretching through the hamstrings. Your calf muscles are activated. My toes are spread, gripping the floor, and arches are lifted. So we're here, shoulders are back. You could kind of extend the arms behind to pull the shoulder blades together. And then we float back down. Sweep up. Connect those hands and exhale, hands to the heart. Okay, so that's the first little part. So we're going to do that again. So we're going to sweep up, come down, flat back. So we kind of lift halfway down. And then we're going to step back into a lunge. And that's going to start to open up through the hips. So I think I will face this way. So I'm going to start at kind of the top of my mat. And we start by sweeping up. Inhale, big breath, stretching and lengthening. Slowly exhale, swan dive forward. Touch the floor. Inhale up to that nice flat back. Tuck your tail under. And then come back down with the hands. Now bend your knees as much as you need to because you want your hands or a good grip with the fingertips on the floor. And I'm going to step back with my right foot. So we come into a low lunge. My left knee is in my left armpit. And I want you to hold this for a few moments, just kind of try and evenly balance your weight. And now we're going to step back into downward facing dog. So you need the hands on the floor, push up and back. I usually have to adjust my feet here. We want to be hip width apart or wider. And for downward facing dog, you can start with your knees a little bit bent, really pushing the butt up into the air. This is about stretching the back. Fingertips are wide, hands are really suctioned onto the floor. Maybe a little bend in the elbows. And your head is hanging. You can play around with this a little bit, maybe bend one knee, then the other. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. We're going to roll all the way up. Stretching up into the air. Bring your hands to the heart. Good. So if that felt like a lot of work, it's supposed to. Part of slowing down, normally when we're doing a sequence like that, it's like almost in an Ashtanga style. So one breath for every posture. And when you go quickly, you don't feel the strain as much. So when we're holding for a few extra breaths, make sure the breaths are deep because your muscles need that oxygen. Let's do the other side. Back to the top of the mat, big breath in, sweeping up, lengthening here, and swan dive forward. Touch the floor. Up to your flat back. And down. So this time, the left foot steps way back into your low lunge. Again, I've got my right knee in my right armpit. And lots of breath as you hold here, thinking about how is this feeling? Which muscles are providing you with some wisdom? Hold for another moment or two. If your butt's way up in the air, try and sink down. and then back into downward dog. Deep breaths here. Again, reflecting on how you're holding the pose, what's working, what's not. Then walk the hands to the feet, rolling up, bit, bit, big stretch up into the sky, and releasing the hands to the heart. Nice, good. Let's do that again. This time, instead of walking the hands to the feet, we're going to take little steps with the feet back to the hands. So then we can kind of reverse out of that by coming to the flat back and then sweeping all the way up. So I'll talk you through it as we go. And we'll go a little bit faster this time. Feet are hip width apart. Starting with your hands to the heart, bring your shoulder blades together. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, swan dive. Touch the floor. Inhale to your flat back. Exhale down. Right foot back. Go nice and deep here. Let's hold for a couple of breaths. Back to down dog. And now little baby steps, getting you closer to your hands. This is a tough one to negotiate. But once you get close enough to your hands, float up to a flat back, roll the shoulders away. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart. Then we go for the other side. Inhale up. Exhale, swan dive. Lifting up to a flat back. And exhale down. This time, left foot steps way back. Nice deep lunge here. Really pressing into that back toe base. Feel the stretching happening around the hips, through the hip flexors. And then into downward facing dog. Make any adjustments. Let's do 3 breaths here. Baby steps forward. Floating up to a flat back. Exhale down. Inhale all the way up. And exhale. Hands to the heart. Drop your arms down and bring those feet hip width apart. Let's hold in mountain for a few moments as we let the breath settle. So tighten up through the legs, lengthening, tail tucks under, core pulls back, shoulders up, back and down. Arms are heavy, palms forward. Long neck. Relaxed face, your eyes closed. Breathing deeply. Good. And then just soften out of the posture. Beautiful. So last week, one of the things that I really enjoyed, but I am sure it is the thing that I felt the next day and the day after, was our little kind of energy throw that we were doing. So I want to do it again specifically because I did feel it afterwards. And so when I start to feel something the day after or 2 days after, I'm really aware of the fact that I've targeted muscles that need targeting. So we're going to go again. And to do this, what we do is we sweep up. And then as we exhale, we kind of bend a little bit as we let the hands come down. And then we're coming up nice and tall. And then maybe you go a little bit deeper down. It's fairly controlled. So we're going to do that a few times. And then what we start doing is we come up. And as we're kind of sweeping down, we're going to lift up onto the toe base and then push the heels in as we lift back up. So let's give that a go without the heel lift to begin. So just sweep up and exhale. Up and exhale. Up and release. Come all the way up. And release the arms down. Just take a moment, breathe. And now let's try that. If you want, lifting up onto the toe base. So as we sweep up, we're pushing the heels into the floor. And exhale. Lift. Inhale. And exhale, lift. Inhale. And out. Just go at your own pace. Do one more here. And releasing. And just have a little shake. Good. Excellent. All right. So let's start to break down the triangle. And when I was kind of doing the lesson planning for today, I was like, oh, let's do triangle. And immediately in my head, I was like, oh, triangle sucks. I'm like, you know what? That's not fair. Triangle pose does not suck. It's just kind of weird and awkward, but so am I. So I'm going to try and bring the band together here on this one. So if it's been a while since you've done triangle, or it's often worth kind of breaking it down anyway, we're going to start facing forward and take a nice wide stance. So as we relax kind of into this, you'll notice we all have different ways of standing in the world. So for me, I tend to either really scoop my bum back, or I kind of just almost twist into a posture with one knee higher. Or this is not my knee, one hip higher. So we want to kind of balance stuff out right from the beginning. So tight through the core, lifting up, staying tall, tuck the tail under. And we really want that core to stay engaged as we move. So from here, I'm going to start by bringing a foot out to the side. We extend our arms out from the heart. And again, check your core is still engaged. I have a little cheat that I do. I pop the hip back. Oh, that was a nice loud pop that I experienced, swinging it back. And then we're going to start to gaze over the middle finger of what I'm calling the front hand. And from here, I'm going to start to lean, 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 lean. Reminding myself to keep both legs straight, feet are gripping the floor. And then we just do this rotation. So this is still a fairly lazy triangle. as in my hand, the back of my hand is kind of between the knee and the ankle. My arm was kind of floating in the wind. So I'm going to formalize this arm. We want it coming all the way up. And if your arm is kind of stuck in space here from coming this way, you can try like that. Breathe and think about where you're feeling this. So probably up the inner thigh. Maybe it's balance. And we want to keep rotating back. And I'm going to try and turn and look at that hand up in the air. Good. To release this, you can bring an arm down, keep the core tight, lifting up, straighten the foot. Let's sweep up here. A little bit more lazy, maybe a little bit more relaxed, and then let's swan dive forward. Just kind of ragdoll down. Find your hands on the floor and maybe push into one knee. Maybe push into the other. Just move around, find a stretch that feels good. And then sweeping all the way up. And release the arms, good. Roll the shoulders, perfect. Let's do the other side. So right now, both of my feet are facing forward, so I'm going to take the other foot out on an angle. So with yoga, we talk often when we're doing the physical postures about heel arch alignment. So you want to have some relationship between the heel and the arch. So right now my heel is kind of pointing towards my other heel. So I need to shift that. Better. Well done. All right. So from here, tight through the core. Shoulders are back. Arms extend from the heart. Pop the hip back. I'm looking out over that middle finger, easing in and then hinging over. And the back of the hand is pressing somewhere between the knee and the ankle. And the arm that I have in the air, this side wants to lean right in. So I got to twist her back. And then if it's comfortable, you can gaze up at that hand. Legs are straight. Tight through the core. Let's lift back up. Straighten the foot. This time, just bring the hands up. And move everything back to the heart. Okay, bring your feet together. Shake them out. So here's why the triangle doesn't suck. When we're in this posture, you're probably feeling it already. Inner thighs are getting a stretch that you might not normally be experiencing. I mean, when I go for a hike, I know to do, the quad stretch. I might do a lunge. Maybe if I'm feeling really amazing, I'll do some cobras. That's about it. But this kind of a stretch is so critically important. It can release so much tension through our hips, through our low back. It just is a great stretch for us. And we don't often do it because it's awkward. The other thing that's really important about the triangle is this understanding that we have to keep the chest open, right? So we're really pulling back. That's bringing our shoulder blades together. It's also stretching through the pectorals because right now, with all of the things we do driving on our phones, in our lives, books, computers, we're hunching in on ourselves. So again, it's this reminder to open up. There's some thought that the positioning, kind of hinging over and doing all of this twisting, is massaging your internal organs. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know really what that feels like. So we'll say possible that that's happening. But the thing that I like about the triangle and that I try and remind myself of, because the posture's awkward, and then you're worried about balance and you're trying to keep your knees solid and not bend your legs and all of those things. But the piece that I really like kind of symbolically, if we reflect back to how we started this morning, remembering something that went well and thinking about something that didn't go well, and thinking about gratitude and thinking about wisdom. But as humans, we always need to find a way that even when things are not going well, we got to keep moving forward. We have to keep trying. And triangle is cool because it's grounding us. I see this anyway, symbolically. We're grounded solidly in a safe spot, which is kind of the back leg. I'll talk you through it. Let's set up the posture again. So take a wide stance. Think of this back foot as your anchor. Then you're going to turn this one out on an angle. Think about, again, that heel arch alignment. But think about symbolism for this back leg. This is your anchor. So the rest of your body is going to be exploring, reaching, trying something new, being a little bit more daring. But this is your anchor. This is what keeps you safe. And that's what life's about, because we can take these risks, we can do new things, we can challenge ourselves if we feel we have an anchor. So this is our anchor. So legs are straight, shoulder blades back, extend your arms. Pop the hip back, anchor. So press into the outer edge of that back foot, and then start to hinge forward, hinge, 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 and then ease into this. Twisting back. And you feel all of this tension and all of this pressure in kind of the whole front part of the pose. That back leg is probably not feeling like it's doing a lot. So put a little bit more pressure on the outer edge of that back foot. Maybe go deeper. Again, remind yourself you've got an anchor. And sometimes that anchor is physical, like your leg, your foot. Sometimes it's wisdom. Sometimes it's friends and family. But always know what your anchor is. Okay, and when we lift up out of this posture, we're moving back towards that anchor. So tight core, coming back up, straighten the foot, relax your arms. Now, think about your anchor. When you come back, the pressure's all relieved on this side, but your anchor is still kind of resonating. And take a moment as you breathe and think about, are you feeling that? That's important. All of those things that we build up around ourselves to be our anchors, those are the most important things in our lives. Right? That's really meaningful. And I'm like this leg, not as meaningful. Let's try the other side one more time. Okay, shoulders are back. This is now my anchor. This foot's out on an angle. Heel arch alignment. Arms extend. Hip comes back, leaning forward. Hinging. Make sure that you're rotating back. Really press into that outer edge of that back leg. And again, think about, where are you feeling the pressure? Probably everywhere except for that anchor. Check that your breath is deep. One more breath, maybe sinking deeper, and then pressing through the anchor, lifting back up. Straighten the foot, relaxing down. And again, notice, pressure gone, but maybe you're feeling the resonance in that back leg. Shoulders come back and just relax for a moment. Good. Bring your feet together for a moment and back to that little bit of a bounce. We're going to get some blood flow going before we go through this in a slightly different way because we're going to add a piece. Good. I'm enjoying my jasmine tea this morning. A little bit too much, perhaps. Okay. So we're going to go back to the triangle one more time. This time, after we're in the triangle for a few moments, I'm going to invite you to move into what we call the inclined plane. And that is going to bend our front leg. We bring kind of the arm down, and then the other arm that's up in the air is going to kind of really hug tight to the ear, and it's kind of like a side stretch. You'll know it once we get into it if the name is not familiar. It's a really tough pose for muscles and for cardio, but I trust that we can do it, and we won't hold it that long. And then if we're feeling fancy, we might walk our way out of it using a lunge. So again, let's start in this nice wide angle. And again, think about it, because through the postures, as we change them, while it's really evident in the triangle where your anchor is, that anchor is going to stay consistent, but we might move some of the pressure off, finding a little bit more balance as we go further and become more daring. Okay, front foot out on an angle. Check your heel arch alignment, shoulders back, extending through the arms. Tuck your tail if you haven't already, which is a reminder to myself, and pulling up and back. Hip moves back. Sneaking forward here. And then hinging into the now familiar posture of the triangle. As your flexibility increases and you start to sink further down, this is where you really want to ensure that you're using that anchor. Couple breaths. Good. So from here, start to bend your front leg as you ease up a little bit. Find some support. So I'm resting back of my forearm on that leg. And then the arm aligns here. You're still wanting to kind of twist open. Take some deep breaths. Good. Now the arm that's in the air is going to come down to line up with that front foot. Hands come down. Rotate through your back foot. So we're in a lunge here. Let's step back into downward facing dog. And now walk your hands back, pulling that energy up. And exhale. Hands to the heart. Take a moment while you're standing here, close your eyes, breathing. Notice how you feel. Think about, again, although the left side of my body was doing a lot of work physically, when I release, I still feel the resonance from the anchor. Good, and releasing. Come on back. We're going to do the other side. So starting with our feet nice and wide apart. And before we do the other side, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework, because why not? What I want you to do this week as you're going through your life, I want you to think about this concept of anchors. And I want you to think about, what are your anchors? Is there a person? Is there a practice that you have? Is there, for me, these mornings, it's been my My jasmine green tea is really an anchor. What are your anchors and how do they support you? And how do you nurture them in return? Kind of neat thing to reflect on. Jeff, not so much of an anchor. Sadly. All right, let's move this foot out on an angle. Check the heel arch alignment. Tuck the tail, extending your arms. Pop your hip back. Easing forward. Hinging into the posture. Really making sure you're tight through the knees. Lots of deep breath. Pressing into that anchor leg, that anchor foot. And then bend that knee as you bring the arm to rest. And then that beautiful extension here with the other arm. So you've got this energy flow all the way up. Keep twisting back. And then slowly bring the arm down, rotating the back foot into the lunge. Back to downward facing dog. Sink down to your hands and knees and then gently move back into a child's pose. You can bring your knees further apart and just sink down. Pull the arms back so you can lift up, roll your shoulders. A little bit of a dog switch there. And then we're just going to drop onto the bum. All right. Let's come on down to the back. And if it's comfortable, bring the arms up over top of the head. Let's make some cactus arms. Bring the heels as close to the bum as possible, and knees are about hip width apart. Let's take a slow, deep breath in. As you exhale, just peel those hips off the floor, lifting up. And then slowly down. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, lifting those hips up. Exhale, down. Let's do an inhale up. And exhale, down. Knees come up to the tummy. Keeping the arms where they are, let's lower the legs to the left-hand side all the way down. Head's going to turn to the right, press into that right shoulder. If you haven't done this posture for a while, it might be tight. Just breathe through it, modify as you need. Slowly move back to center. And then drop the legs to the other side, head turns in the opposite direction. Move back to center. Hug the knees in, gently rocking from side to side. Keep the left knee pulled in with your hands. Right leg's going to stretch out on the floor. Keep the shoulders back, breathing deeply. Let's switch sides. And then if it's comfortable, stretch that leg out and move into your Shavasana. Now, not everybody is comfortable lying flat on the floor. If you are not, bring your knees up, maybe move them to the outer edges of the mat and let them rest against each other. Your arms can be wherever it is comfortable for you. If you're feeling chilly, you can cross the arms over your chest. But the whole point of the Shavasana is to move into a space of relaxation. It's also a space of acceptance, kind of accepting what we've gone through in the practice and letting a physical memory form. Once you find the posture that works for you, deepen your breath. Let yourself drift and just be at peace with whatever it is you discovered in the practice today. Start to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back to your physical self. And slowly move your head from shoulder to shoulder. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then stretch the arms up over top of your head. Stretch out the legs. Really lengthen. Allow yourself a moment to feel taller and stronger. And then soften. Bring your knees into your tummy, grab a hold, give yourself a really big hug. And then make your way to a seated posture. So as you sit in these last few moments of today's practice, just reflect. Think about what was hard. Think about what more you might want to explore. Just add in that little note to yourself to, as you move through the week ahead, think about your anchors. It's kind of cool to do those explorations because sometimes we have things that we don't even realize. Maybe you're going to find out that you have a really critically important anchor and you didn't even know it was your anchor. Let's bring the hands together in front of the heart. This is always, I think, my favorite time in the practice because it allows me to express my gratitude to each one of you for giving up a chunk of your Sunday morning to spend time in this kind of weird and wacky virtual environment to kind of explore and privately express some of this stuff, but it's kind of cool to do it with other people. Anyway, it continues to bring me an immense amount of joy, and it's hard for me to put it into words, but thank you. And I hope everybody has an amazing week ahead with less of the challenge and more of the joy. Namaste.